Welcome back from the break, ladies and gentlemen, for APAC South Playday 3. We are moving forward now with Knights versus QConfirm. Almost completely forgot them because, guys, they've been quite unforgettable a little bit this stage. 0-2, -6 round differential. It has not been a good stage 2 for QConfirm, but maybe this is a chance where they can turn things around, Guz.
Did you just say unforgettable or forgettable?
Unforgettable.
So you
Actually,
meant
no,
to say
wait,
you were meant to say forgettable.
I just can't
Come on,
words.
dude, you got to know
Words
these
are
things.
hard today, mate, but just, focus on throwing.
Yeah, so heading into this matchup, Knights QConfirm, as you mentioned, QConfirm are having a little bit of a disastrous stage 3, and the Knights looking to back up their form in stage 2. Having a look at the QConfirm roster, though, I mean, so many of these players have stepped up on numerous occasions, but for whatever reason hasn't quite clicked. As we mentioned, no wins. They lost to Invictus 5-7 and Dire Wolves. They lost 3-7, which is probably an even more disappointing result for these guys. So looking to bounce back.
Vast, it's not been great for QConfirm, although, I mean, they don't have the highest expectations, I guess, in APAC South. You probably would not be expecting them to be at the very bottom. And, of course, their opponent today being the Knights, the favoured team, to be winless after 3 Playdays, that's a surprise with a roster this talented.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where QConfirm kind of sit in APAC South. They kind of have faced a few inconsistencies. I mean, some games, they've had healthcare, which his name is now Spacehead. Players like himself and Producer Boom and sometimes Dark just absolutely going off. And for me, yeah, I don't think they're a team that kind of deserve to be at the bottom. It seems like perhaps they're just facing a few issues this season. I mean, losing to Invictus, maybe a bit expected nowadays, but losing to Dire Wolves on Cafe, probably, arguably, QConfirm's best map. It's just really strange for me, and it makes me kind of think that they're facing, like, at least from watching the game, it kind of makes me think that, they're kind of facing a few issues within the team, like how they kind of coordinate and synergize, and yeah, nothing's really kind of working in their favor of recent.
Hopefully they can turn it around. Their opponents, though, the Knights, it will be difficult to turn it around against these guys. Of course, the APAC South champions, they are always switched on when it comes to APAC South. But guys, they did lose to IG last week for Playday 2. But the Knights in APAC South don't tend to lose 2 in a row often. So you were kind of expecting them to come out today and again, lay down the law, be the favourites.
Yeah, that's right. That's basically the storyline I had written down heading into this one. How are the Knights going to bounce back from losing against Invictus? It's now more critical than ever that the Knights do not drop any more maps throughout the remainder of this stage. Losing that head-to-head to Invictus means that they need Invictus to trip up at some point, maybe more than once, for them to even be able to catch up and get first place for that auto-qual to the major. So all the pressure on the Knights to sort of go for this perfect record in the back end of this stage. It could be critical for them to be able to finish first. If it's not already quote-unquote impossible, or at least very, very difficult, it will be if they lose a match like this to QConfirm.
Yeah, and Vast, obviously, they're coming into this as full favourites, right? They should be able to win this. Then they play Order after that. Suddenly, then there's only 3 Playdays to go, and they're looking pretty good for top 4. That's probably the normal scenario, I guess, for the Knights. But what happens if they lose this game? Do things capitulate? Where does it all go from here? They'll be on 3 points after 3 Playdays. That's not ideal. So the Knights have got, I guess, maybe some expectations to win this game, a bit of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, Knights have always kind of notorious for being a really consistent team throughout stage 1 and stage 2. They've proven that they are, really consistent. And I mean, for them to lose this game, sure, it kind of does hurt maybe their chances of finishing first place, which is, I'm sure, their kind of expectation. I mean, losing to Invictus last week and then losing to QConfirm this week would kind of start to look a bit worrying. I mean, they do have Order, so, I don't think they'd be too too scared, but look, I think the Knights, they're the team that wants to win every game, and they kind of show it. So I don't have any reason to think that they will, not perform and show up tonight.
I just had a quick little look at the lovely deathmatch tracker. Knights have never lost 2 in a row in the regular stage of APAC South. So
that's a good fun fact. That's not bad. You didn't even say it was a fun fact.
I just knew it was. Either way.
Trademark.
You completely thrown me off, guys. I think we're going on the map vetoes. I'm pretty certain of it. I could be wrong, but
Good
you just
hosting skills.
absolutely thrown me off here. Luckily, the producers got my back. We're going to Chalet, boys, here for the map veto this match. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised by this. Bank also making it that far down. I'll go to you first, Vast, because you actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is a weird veto. I mean, I can't really remember the last time Knights have played Chalet. Yeah, honestly, kind of going blank there. They don't seem like they're ready to play Bank yet. Yeah, I don't really know their reasoning behind Chalet. Perhaps it's just more of like, you know, which one. It's just deciding, you know, maybe we're worse on Bank. So no surprise there, really. Kind of Knights just banning club. They just don't want to play, which I find interesting. I feel like Stage 2, they had some success on it. But maybe their map pool's changed, who knows. QConfirm as well. I think they're actually a decent team on Coastline, and I think Coast or Villa could be a map to take Knights to. Again, I don't know a whole lot about QConfirm's map pool. Really, it's only Cafe that I know about, which is pretty poor, but yeah, I don't know. That's all I can really say, really, is that...
that you don't know.
That I don't know, but I try to make it sound like I do know.
Well, I can tell you this.
That's the job, mate.
I try to finesse it. I try to
Yeah,
finesse
good
it as
work.
to best of my ability.
I'll tell you this, Vast. You were actually the last team to beat Knights on Chalet. So there you go, back when you were playing on the Chiefs. That was in Stage 1.
That's another fun
Jeez,
fact.
that was
Fun fact.
forever ago.
So it was forever ago. That's where I'm leading to this. 18th of April was the last time the Knights played Chalet. For QConfirm, though, Guz have had a bit more play time on this. 6 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. That's including the local league for them. So I'm coming out of this actually maybe expecting QConfirm to have slightly won this map veto.
Yeah, I don't think they've done too bad of a job. A little bit surprised by that Villa ban, considering Knights don't have a great record there, but maybe seeing something we haven't in that regard. Both Bank and Chalet, the 2 remaining maps, are the 2 least played. Of course, Bank understandably so, because it just got added into the pool, but Chalet is a map that hardly been touched by the Knights, 2 times a 1-1 record, so I don't really know what to expect heading into this matchup. Are we going to see some new stuff brought into the server? I mean, potentially there's a bit of room for growth here on Chalet, but yeah, great record for QConfirm. I wouldn't say they've, you know, completely won the veto or finessed it, maybe in the same way that Wildcard did against their opponents, but I'd say they've done a pretty decent job.
Yeah. Well, Vast doesn't know. I know another guy who doesn't know many things either. His name is Matic Monday. He will be taking you through this game with Dev Mata.
Well, I know a bit more than you, so that's saying something, isn't it? But Dev, as we get into this one, QConfirm and Knights, not really apparently. I'm still hearing the boys talking. It doesn't really say much at all. It's what's half of no IQ? Oh yeah, it's still no IQ. But we are moving on. Chalet is sure to be one that maybe QConfirm could cause a bit of an upset here.
Yeah, I think the guys said it pretty well on the desk. This is a map that QC play all the time, but only in their local leagues for the most part. Fairly unproven at this level. Knights haven't played this in a heck of a long time, not since Vaz beat them in OCN with the Chiefs. So definitely a chance for QC to dodge those relegation spots, currently sitting second last in the league. And Knights, of course, gunning for that #1 spot in APAC South.
You know what I just realised?
What did you just realise, mate?
The fact that all of Xenox's fun facts are quite literally just from your spreadsheet.
Yeah,
So-
well, no, I literally took the information from my spreadsheet and then I posted it in the Discord chat that we all use. And then Xenox is like, hey guys, fun fact, here's something that I made up myself. And it definitely wasn't Dev. And yeah, I mean, I've come to expect that. I do often have to carry this team, so.
He's done that a couple of times. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to get a bit sick of it. This bloke, he's passing off others as their own. Others' work as his own. Sorry, that really didn't come out all that well. Flores and Thatcher banned on the attack here. Mirror image to what we saw on Club. That is a little bit different though. The Clash going to be banned out from Knights as their defense.
Yeah, it's a good play. Don't want to play against that Clash QC. I personally haven't seen a huge amount of it, but it does creep in every now and then. The Flores and Thatcher ban, pretty common. Flores getting out means that we're going to see Jaeger Wamai be impactful unless the Wamai gets banned. No, it's the Valk. So Wamai's still in, Jaeger still in, which means we can really fortify some of these positions behind deployable shields, some of these power positions. For example, on Library Stairs, on the bar defense, team's going to have to be really good at using their projectiles to clear that up because they won't have the Flores to lean on.
Can we also just take a minute to say how upset I am that Bank was not picked, that we weren't able to see... I mean, I have not cast it yet in the, what, 7 odd play days that I've had.
Jeez.
A little bit disappointed, not going to lie. There was an opportunity there. But nevertheless, we do head to Bar and Gaming. First up, and Dev dare say that we will see that extension above. We'll see the library stairs hold, potentially?
100%. Oh, well, my actually picked off of. So, starting to forfeit a little bit of projectile denial in favor of getting a second shield here. I feel like they could have just gone for both. Get rid of the pulse. If there's anything here that I feel like you could trade out, it would be the pulse. But they wanted the 2 shields, they wanted the pulse. He must have an impact here, like he's got to. And you can do a lot with the pulse. Like if you play in stock, which is this little small room that connects the 2 bomb sites, you can get a lot of information outside, anyone rotating, even down in Wine Cellar, where a lot of players like to creep up. So I think that's a good move from QConfirm, depending on how Knights do at clearing that top floor. Because if Knights really struggle, or if Knights are rather really successful at countering these 2 shield positions, 1 top library stairs, 1 big pillar, then I think QConfirm are going to miss out on that one line. Particularly because the Capital, which you don't see every day, is being brought here by Knights. And that does not get countered by the Jaeger, only the 1 mine.
This could be big. Wait and see. Knights approaching. Oh, Producer needs to be careful here. I mean, surely Pulse goes down early. That could be quite detrimental. A huge intel gatherer for QConfirm. And also, I mean, it is Producer. Producer is quite gnarly. He does make his way back into a little bit more safety of kitchen, but still needs to be careful. Can be cut off on that rotate should they be able to open up. Lobby start to push in. Not going to be the case, though. They're looking to take that top down clear. Top down clear?
Yep.
Yeah, that made sense.
It does, mate. You're just spot on as always. Well done. Robert, well done. I love this angle that we can see Josh getting, or about to get, from on this balcony. Ooh, Juicy might have a play here. Very aggressive. With all these lines of sight open and with the M249, you can do a lot of damage, cut off these rotations within the site. As the rest of the Knights focus, for the most part, I was going to say on this top floor clip, but they've actually completely rotated off. There's not really a lot of presence upstairs now. Sage lurking down below. Think he did get the info on Hajime.
Hajime certainly played into the safer hand. That's no doubting there. Knights have taken a decent amount of control with Juicy, as you'd said previously. Now starting to push the issue and keep those players on site locked in position. But again, Producer, I mean, his money's worth will be made very quickly when Knights start to make their presence known. 2 players outside of lobby, or at least Dino. I think Sage is underneath, and I've been baited there. But Dino, this could be absolutely massive. Has he spotted him? You bet it. 100% he has.
I mean, surely this is a free fight from the poles, and he wins it. Dino goes down. And it looks like Knights are in a bit of an awkward spot. We'll try and redeem this a little bit, but I roasted the pulse pick. It's been incredibly impactful. Josh does find one, however. A nice aggressive pick, and Sage as well, clearing the Aruni gate, but this is why you've got to clear the top floor. It's going to be so difficult for Knights to make this work when QConfirm still have so much control.
How much util do they still have left between them? No flashes on Josh, but Juicy still has that all wonderful crossbow. Josh now getting into a position that he might be able to find something should they try to return back to site. Juicy finding Spacehead is actually rather large. Hajime, though, bites back. And now Josh has to clutch up.
15 seconds to go.
Bar hatch is still closed, so gaming hatch open. What are Hajime and Dark going to do to play this? They're playing it safe. Oh, and that's a lot of info. Dark should be able to finish him off in just a moment. He does. And a good retake gets QConfirm the first round here. A pivotal one for them. Starting strong. Knights just had absolutely no control.
Defender mission successful.
Definitely felt a little bit disjointed. There's no doubt about it. When QC find the opening 2 picks and you're scrambling to trade back, that's always going to happen. We will continue to ask the big questions of Knights. One being, why Chalet? All the maps that we could have ended up seeing, Chalet kind of, you could say leaking through to an extent. is not one that I would really have favoured a fair fight on, that's for sure. This is an open door for QConfirm, but it is always about how they do and how they deal with the pressure that Knights can bring. Quite a team that is more than capable of adapting. Castle now 6th picked out for the mirror.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defeated by
Look,
attackers.
yes, this is a staple map for QC. They have played it 10 times this year in their local leagues almost exclusively. We've got the Gakwe scrimmage and the Operation League Thailand. Not really much at this level. They did play it a couple of times in the APAC playoffs for Stage 2. But it's not really proven against high-level competition like the Knights. But in contrast, like, this is one of the first time Knights is ever playing this map. And so it's very much unproven for the Knights. And for a little bit more context here, like, yes, I kind of said that QC are trying to get out of those relegation spots for the whole year, of the whole season. But the thing is that Stage 2 is actually really strong for them. Stage 1, bloody abysmal, but Stage 2, excellent for QConfirm, also excellent for Knights. And what that means is, as a result of those two stages, these teams are actually tied up in head-to-head. Like, Knights won 7-2 in Stage 1, QConfirm won 7-5 when these teams encountered in Stage 2. So while it really does feel like Knights should heavily be favored here, QConfirm definitely are a lot closer than perhaps we initially gave them credit for.
Yeah, the biggest problem with QC from Stage 2 was the fact that, you know, they had 3 incredible opening playdays, and then from there they went on to lose 3 of their preceding 4 matches toward the end of the season, end of the stage, which that really then just, it kind of overshadowed what they'd been able to do. But there's no doubt about it, they can perform to a high standard here, especially in APAC South. And especially when teams start to kind of allow them that room to move. And I say Chalet is probably the least favoured map for Knights in terms of this matchup. So I really think that the ball's been slipped a little bit in that perspective. Again, we don't know what's going on the inside, but Haywood needs to be careful here because, like Colas, he's just on the other side.
It's going to be such a free kill if he gets the timing. He doesn't. It's one of his teammates watching. Like, Hollis is in just such a slippery position.
Yeah.
Almost no one would play here. It's so exposed. You have no mobility, but you can get a free kill. So that's always nice. I mean, a very unusual spot, but that's part of the reason why it was so effective. Dark's also found an aggressive peak. Refragged. Both of those kills refragged back.
Twice in a row now, Knights have been down 2 men, but still been able to bring that deficit back in relatively quick succession. Jeez, we got it out there. But Hajime and the remaining members of QConfirm, they are going to need to hold strong here. There's the ability that you do grab when you're on the cap, it's out. That additional hard breaching device can pay dividends, especially when things start to get a little bit close to the wire, which 50 seconds left, it will very quickly slip away.
A gunfight could certainly dictate this if Knights are given the opportunity. Juicy's so low on HP, there's no gas left for Producer Ben. 30 seconds. Josh, the player, to lurk and make a flank, but the jig is up. He's been called out. Now some cover, but the last gas detonated now. It was actually already in the field, so he did have one left. There's not going to be a lot of time for Knights to make this work.
Not at all, but that is a massive pick to open things up. Spacehead goes down. Hajime and Producer to hold for QConfirm here, and Producer, he will do what he does best. Hajime can't get it done though. Josh now starts to push in. What can Producer do? Shotty in hand. He'll get shut down by Josh in the smoke. And that is a massive round for Knights to be able to bring back. And now evens it out 1 apiece.
Yeah, and an excellent round from Josh as well. He really stepped up in the latter part. Knights, it was so unlikely that they were able to just make a normal passive plant go down. They needed that backstab. That's exactly what Josh did. He's been a linchpin player so far in this roster and looking to continue that trend here. 1 apiece, as you say. QConfirm Still that bar game's locked out. They're going to go try master after unsuccessful kitchen dining. But I am going to admit, Rob, like, I feel like as the game goes on, if QConfirm keep trying to make these cheeky little rat plays, and I don't mean that with any offense, it's just what it is. You're standing in the middle of lobby, just in a tiny little position where you would be punished and a free kill if you were droned out. They're going to keep taking risks like that. Knights are going to read into it. Yep. And this is going to start to spiral in their favor.
It is, you know, and it is the duality of playing against Knights, because on one hand, we always say, if you're going up against a team like Knights, you need to do things that are sporadic. You need to be able to catch them off guard. But in that exact same breath, we then say, but you have to be careful not to do it too much, because Knights are this is the big issue that we have with Knights in terms of other teams facing them, is their adaptability in the actual server. Like their opportunity to change things up on a dime is very dangerous. And if you do give them that chance, they will take it. And I think that that's a perfect way to put it, is QConfirm have got to be ratty, but not too ratty at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? You play that playstyle, you rely on the opponent making mistakes. Knights not likely to make a lot of mistakes, but then QConfirm, they can't just erase the identity of their playstyle altogether. But this is looking to be a very, very clear-cut solo push so far from Knights. I love the vertical from Hayward. He goes all the way in. Big garage, pretty common now for Buck to play this. You can get 2 floors worth of vert to deny that stairs position. The Knights are actually going to rotate over. It looks like they've made the call. We're going for library now.
It's always good to see, when you're in that bird's eye view, exactly what an attacking team is trying to achieve. And right there, you could see it clear as day. Again, shout out to Mandy, our wonderful observer. Repel on Twitter.
Repel R6, I believe.
Oh, there you go, Repel R6.
I don't know. That's just.
I didn't know what the end. Yeah, I didn't know what the end was, but I knew that it definitely had Repel in there. But anyway, let's move on, because at the end of the day now, Hayward is in a very cheeky position that might be able to find something should they try to rotate, but I couldn't imagine it is going to pay too much dividends. QConfirm will be quite cautious in their approach.
Yeah, look, an aggressive hold here. Producer actually has a mirror in pocket as well. He was tempted to place down. I don't know if this was the right call from Knights. They've gone and tried to rotate their push. Now they've decided to abandon library because, I mean, there's just such a good setup there. Knights looking to be very, very slippery here. They're actually not doing a normal push whatsoever. Not a normal solo push, not a normal library push. Very lurky kind of attack right now, hoping to find an aggressive pick, and there they do get it. They also get info onto the Aruni, and Juicy might be able to be the difference maker here. This could be the opening Knights are looking for.
Well, on the other side of the coin, I guess Sage could be the one that opens things up. However, that push from Juicy is something you'll still want to pay attention to, unless Dino can get more than the one. Hajime from underneath is going to be able to slow things down, but not for too much longer. Dark goes down, and now it is nothing left but a retake. 1v4, there is nothing left in this round. However, don't speak too soon.
Oh no, that air jab doesn't actually manage to catch him. They won't know. They'll think it's air jabbed off. What a shot. The trade comes through. A bit of a scary moment there for the Knights, but they do lock it in. Another good round from them, but I will admit, another one that did make me a little bit nervous in the early to mid round.
Yeah, it's... Honestly, nothing that I'm seeing is overly convincing from either side. I really don't know where this round ends, right? When we were looking... Yeah, shoot.
I mean, it's just hard. Like, the thing that is really highlighted for me about this game is it's just unusual seeing Knights play this way on their attack. I think it's a good way to play, but they're not just like hard committing to a push, right? Like I said it, you know, at the very start of the round, they committed to Solar. And then they were like, nah, this isn't going to work. Let's go library. And then they went and saw the setup on library. Like, we're not going to do that, mate. That's going to be so hard. So they kind of just sat in a bunch of positions where you wouldn't have a push unless you can find a couple picks. And they really relied on QConfirm feeding those picks. They did. I mean, they made it work, but it just does make you nervous when they're... It's like what we were saying before about QC. Like, you're relying on your opponent to do a specific thing. You're relying on your read being correct. Otherwise, that strategy is not going to work.
I guess what I was kind of alluding to is the fact that, like, last game when we were watching Wildcard and Elevate, it was a little bit easier to read, you know, where the round was kind of unfolding to. You know, like you could see, right, here's where they're going to be attacking. This is what they've already done. This is what allows them to do. Whereas this just feels incredibly hard to read. And some of these are really coming down to ones and potentially timings as well. The amount of kills that we've seen where players have not even seen the opponent. They've just been absolutely domed. So, you know, rounds like these do end up on a nice edge, and it can be really dangerous. But Knights seem to be adapting quite well to what seems to be a QC win in terms of the veto.
Yeah, maybe. Josh,
Nope.
I praised him a lot earlier. He's the first one down, so that's a good pick for Lycolis. I was going to say, just another way to mention what your point was before is it's definitely a breath of fresh air watching some Chalet right after watching some Clubhouse. Two very different beasts.
Yeah. It's almost like going from Clubhouse to Coastline, you know? It's just...
Yeah, oh, it is. I mean, these days, Chalet is definitely Coastline light.
Yeah. Yeah, or even, I mean, I guess the Consulate is a very easily traded out into that conversation as well. But there we go. Sage does respond once again. 3 rounds out of the 4. QConfirm have found the opening pick, but Knights are so quick to trade back. And with 2 minutes left, they'll start to approach from the east. And oh, Dark's got to be careful. Oh my God, Sage wins that. Ow.
Yeah, with the holo as well. Could be running the 1.5, but he doesn't need it. Apparently, Spacehead is really feeling that pressure now. So many lines of sight opened onto him. And Sage is very keen. Whoa, bit of damage.
Jeez.
Spacehead's got so many angles here, and a lot of them quite unlikely. Still supported by Hachime as well. Now, Knights are going to have to address these hard positions.
Again, though, some of this will come down to timing. Is Spacehead watching the right place at the right time? Are they going to be able to punish it as well? Dino now going to be putting pressure on the library window. I mean, Spacehead is just caught in between a rock and a hard place, and now the big question is, how long can he stay alive? How much damage can he do to Knights as they try to flush him out? Because right now, he's not really being pressured to be pushed into a position to fight, and Dino gets absolutely deleted.
Oh, Spacehead's good for the double!
Spacehead!
And Sage has got it all on his shoulders now. He can find one. Juicy is there in the back line to support, and I guess he finds the other two. So, my God. Rob, take it. I don't know what to call that one.
No, again, it's literally, as we prefaced it, in the kind of prep phase of that round, it's really hard to read what's about to happen. Sure, we know that, like, that Spacehead is eventually going to take a fight. Dino is hard watching from the window. It's going to go either way, right? Dino's going to get deleted, or Spacehead's going to find the, well, I guess find his own coffin in the end. But it's just the way things then unfold from there. It's just chaotic. You have, I actually don't know who it was that was jumping in from the windowsill now. Sage just jumping in and contesting library stairs, and within a second, the player's dead. And then from there, the round just collapses. This is just... I'm really struggling to follow what's going on, but I guess that doesn't really say much, as Xenox said earlier.
I mean, I'm struggling to go what's going on. I'm the one taking all the notes and trying to do the analysis. Nah, mate, it's just... This is a pretty cooked game we've got right here on our hands. And that's one of the things with QC is, like, they like to take risks, and they are that kind of team. Not so much what we would expect from Knights. Knights are quite a versatile team, but they are definitely playing into the chaos rather than trying to hard counter any of the setups from QConfirm, which is unusual and risky, but it's worked for 3 rounds in a row now. So I don't want to be too critical of it, right? If this is the way that Knights want to try and counter QConfirm by beating them at their own game, then by all means, make it work.
It's just a different side, I guess. A different side of Knights that we are potentially not so used to seeing. I guess we've seen it a little bit in OCN. They're a looser play style in the National League, but certainly in APAC South, it's not something that we have become accustomed to. So really scary to know, if you're a team watching right now, that Knights, they can catch whatever you're throwing at the end of the day, right? They've got that ability to adapt on the fly. I don't know how many times I can say adapt this game before I turn into an adaption. So let's just see now. For QConfirm, really don't want to see them slipping too many more rounds from here. 4-2 half is retrievable, 5-1 is devastating.
I think most people would consider Chalet to be attacker favored. So I think that I would say, actually that said, it's been played once in APAC South, 70% defense. When you've only got 10 rounds, I wouldn't really call that a valid...
Not a sample size.
Nah, not really. I mean, even previous stage it was defensive favored, 64% in APAC South, but again, I don't know. I think this is the attacker side of the map. I think it's one of the more attacker side of maps in our pool, along with Coast. But I think Knights would only be happy with 4 or 5 here.
Yeah.
3 would be achievable, but definitely pressure is on QC now. Once again, Spacehead going down, one of those big hitters for the team that's once again been shut down. He's died every single round. Definitely putting QC in a precarious position. And Josh is just having...
what is going on? I just can't follow it. It is absolute madness. And look at this. Dino's going for the plant. There's no one watching. What's going on?
Yeah, look, Dino, I don't know what that was, mate. But it doesn't matter. When Knights can just do this. Good night to Lycolis, says Hayward. It's just Dark left. He has a lot of good angles, but they go both ways. 1v4. Another one. Another one. 1v2. This could be the ace.
Oh, Dark is absolutely maddening. What is this? How does he find the ace? How has he just done that?
No way, man. That is the second 1v5 that Knights have lost this week.
Huh?
Knights, man, you gotta stop feeding him. I mean, credit to Dark. That was absolutely bonkers. He nailed that. And the MX4 with a 1.5, works a treat in those tight situations. But my God, that did not need to go that way. This is one of the most silly matches of Siege I've seen in quite some time. Both of these teams bringing us an entirely new brand of the game.
I mean, I generally try to stay as composed as I can when I cast, and you know, I try to explain what is happening. I am speechless. How is Dark able to single-handedly pull apart Knights there? That is absolutely filthy. Like, that's on another level, and Knights just the 1v1s. I mean, that all starts with Dino trying to plant with absolutely no cover whatsoever, and it just steamrolls from there. But, I mean, take your hat off. Take an absolute bow, Dark. That's one of a kind.
Absolutely. It's not every day that you see a 1v4 ace, and we've now seen 2 of them in the last week and a half. At least if you've been watching OCN. Knights also lost a 1v4 ace to Imorin when they were playing against Wildcard.
Yep.
And this is definitely something that I think Knights needs to be careful of, because obviously you shouldn't be losing your 5v1s. Yes, Dark played that amazingly, and we got to applaud him and say that, you know, he did it. But, I mean, he walked 2 steps. He didn't have to do much, right? He had to stay composed and hold down the lines and nail those shots, and he did just that. But Knights gave him the chance, and they really didn't need to.
And you know what? It's in a very, very similar situation that we saw Knights do it against Wildcard. Wildcard then went on to really make that game competitive. You got to remember, Knights were up 3-0. Right now, they were up 3-1. There are trends that are kind of following here, and we've really got to start begging the question, how comfortable are Knights in this server? Because that kind of shows the lack of care that they have for that particular, 1v5. And that's not to have a dig at them by any means, but their heads are massive right now. There's no doubt about it.
I believe the Bandit juggled the first of Ace's Salmas, denying a bit of that hard breach. Remember, the previous time QConfirm won this bomb site was thanks to a really strong roam game that Knights just did not address. Looks like Knights actually be able to make a play here. I think they've drawn out the site. They know it's pretty clear. Hajime finds the opener. He was losing that fight, and a C4 from Producer Boom goes boom. 3v5 now for Knights, and I think that, I mean, I'm not going to say the mental's been chalked, but now Sage has DC'd. QConfirm, on the back of that insane clutch, look like they might be making this a very winnable match.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be having words. There's no doubt about it. Josh now trying to do his best to open things up for Knights here. He's going to be able to find the kill onto Spacehead. Is it traded in time? Josh can't find the kill. The scope is too close. Producer closes things out. QConfirm have closed out the half 3-3 after a dominant start from Knights.
And we discussed what is a win here out of that half for QC. Absolutely, that is a win. No doubt about it. QConfirm are going to be extremely happy with that result. That was one round that by no means should they have won. The ace. They put that in their back pocket. That hypes them up, maybe chalks the mental for Knights a little bit. And then they go and repeat what happened on the previous dining defense that they managed as well. Really, honestly, quite impressed by QConfirm. They are playing into this really well. Knights definitely not having as much of a response as we had expected here. But QC are no slouches. Like we said, previous time these teams played in Stage 2, it was QC who took the win, gave Knights their first L of the stage. And I think that QConfirm could well do it again.
They're on track to do it. You know, track record's good. The ability to bring that back is, I mean, it's undeniable. But really, just huge question marks. Again, Knights, we love you. I love you. Don't get this wrong, Don.
But you're playing terribly.
Yeah, that should not have happened. Like, you know, that is just.
I can be bad cop because I know you'll be a good cop, you know, Rob. Like, it's the only reason. It's like, you know, I'm only harsh because I love you.
Yeah. Even now, I'm like, how much longer can I be good cop for before I snap on that? Like, that's.
I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, they're even, right? This isn't. It's not like they're getting slaps.
No.
And they won 3 rounds in a row, most of them pretty decisive. But even the nature of them winning those rounds, I don't want to say being critical because I think that it would be pretty, I don't know. I don't think it would be fair of me to say that what I believe the playstyle they should be playing is the only valid playstyle. I think if they wanted to attack like that, then that's valid. But you put that aside and you see those advantages that they have thrown and you think, well, they really need to hope that that technical timeout we just had to let Sage reconnect has helped them figure out what they're going to do on their defense.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Oh, right. Let's move on now and hope that Knights get a fresh start. I guess, you know, a pivotal part of that round as well, Sage dropping down as things started to kind of fall apart for Knights, so it just went from bad to worse. Now we'll see them on the defense, as you said. This is where their test really lies, is this second half. We've seen them on the attack. They've shown good promise, but now it's time to back this up and to walk the walk.
Util burn here for QC. Oh, it's just so perfect. This is what I expected from Knights. Just methodically clearing out the util and taking advantage of it to win gunfights. But it looks like, okay, eventually the nade did finally take down that shield. Knights on the back foot now. Their util slipping away and a man advantage forfeited. This is really, really a good start for QC.
God, the amount of times Knights have had to fight from the man disadvantage, especially in the earlier starts of the round. In phase 1, it really hasn't been that pretty in terms of that stat. But I guess it's not really about whether they lose the first pick, it's how they recover. They have shown they can. They're going to need to again. As QConfirm, they've taken a lot of control from that library area across, and now with Dino completely flushed out, he's rotating back down below.
Sage is a pivotal player here. The way that this office wall is open means that Sage can deny plant as long as he has piano control. If QConfirm can find this pick, it will really rip the rug out from Knights' feet.
And there's no doubt about it, they know it as well. Got a player on piano window. You got Dark just on the other side of the double door. Hayward looking. Ooh. Oh, that is such a gnarly angle. He's been spotted. The gig is up, but he could still do some damage underneath here, depending on how much attention they put there.
Oh, Sage has been droned. There's a lot of util coming his way as well. It's going to be so difficult for him to hold. They march on through. QConfirm go deep, but Juicy stands up. And now he's the last man standing. Not going to be enough for QConfirm. They've taken the lead now and are looking so good here on Chalet.
As if it was a question. As if we ever question how viable this would have been. And Knights were definitely making us believe. 3 rounds straight for QConfirm on the back of the 1v5 from Dark. And now Knights decide to call their tactical timeout. And for those of you watching in the last game, we saw how impactful that was for Wildcard. Can it have the same effect for Knights? They need to put the brakes on here. They have to slow down this momentum by QConfirm. Because as you said, Dev, track records show that QConfirm can punch here.
Absolutely, and their attacks actually look even better than their defenses here for QC. I really would credit them. I think that they did what Knights were avoiding doing, which is just addressing the issues head on, right? Knights saw a mirror window on Library, and they're like, okay, let's not push here. QConfirm see a shield with Mind Magnets and Jaeger's ADS, and they're like, okay, look, we know we can deal with that. Spam our flashes, use our Gon 6, use our nades, clear it through. QConfirm is playing better Siege right now. And the careful thing for Knights is that I think forfeiting a couple more rounds than they should have on their attack is going to mean that their defense has to be twice as good as usual.
Can it be?
Defenders,
Big question.
protect your bombs from being defused.
Can they really hold against an ever-storming QConfirm on Chalet? Doesn't look like they're going to be sticking much of the similar from last. They have moved on from the Kaid. At least I think it was the Kaid. I'm not going crazy, am I? We definitely saw that in Piano.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I've lost the plot there.
I think it was a 6-pick. I don't know. I entered the operators as they came through. Well, yeah, sorry, there was a Kaid last round instead of the Malusi. So it's the Malusi that they've changed, which is funny because if I recall correctly, and I'm going to double check this with my stats, Malusi is actually an operator that we've seen QConfirm ban out before. I can't actually see that in my stats, but I swear I remember that happening. Yeah, I can see a couple of games they banned it.
Yeah.
They're a team that likes to just swing. We saw how they entered Piano. Those bans is going to make that much more difficult.
Then I guess the big question for QConfirm becomes what's their util clear like? They've got 4 nades. You know, Zofia to deal with it as well. We'll wait and see. That, you know, there are so many little mini games that are played across an entire round that sometimes we don't get to see the full impact of util clear. Not like we used to anyway, that's for damn sure. Times have changed, which is good. We're moving on. Dark now. Moving into Library, or at least thinking about it. That's an early air jab.
Yeah, I think it was placed really early on to try and... I don't know, was that inside or outside? I was a bit confused, didn't quite see where that went, but otherwise, it's an unimpactful air jab, so win for the defense. Dino's actually got the shield flush with the doorway instead of kind of spaced out like you would normally see. I think QConfirm are going to be pretty happy here at clearing this. So they're really putting this pressure up. A lot of flashes coming down. Nade comes over as well. Should get that opening. No, Dino still has the shield.
What happened there? What happened there? I mean, no! What happened there? Dino! Goodness me, Sage with a sharp shot to trade back, but walks right into the open arms of Producer. And, I mean, QConfirm are doing an incredible job of keeping their finger on the pulse here. Talking of keeping fingers on pulses, my God. QConfirm are just picking apart Knights. Juicy and Josh all that remain, but it is a 2v3. Things can change on a dime.
Definitely starting to see a favor here for QC, though. They might be able to take a 2-round lead. Josh has been really good player in these early rounds, except for the few times he's been taken out as the opening death. Juicy has been a monster in the late round. This is where he shines.
That it is, put all the pressure on that you want. He's not going to find absolutely anything, but Josh will find a kill now. 2v2 as they start to progress a little bit closer. Josh holds firm, a second on the board, but Hajime, can he break hearts here? Josh falls back away to the safety of Solarium. As things calm back down, the dust has certainly settled.
But there's a lot of time left for Hajime to bait out this plant. Josh has to move now. Does Hajime have the info? He's going to have to listen quietly. Josh knows that plan is now down, and suddenly Hajime has the advantage of the long-range scope and the high-damage ARX. Josh has to win this to keep his team with their heads above the water. Hajime playing it so well, though. Josh has to win it. Hajime with the 1 versus 2 clutch. QConfirm flying high above, and they've got a 2-round lead on the Knights.
Attack timeout leads to absolutely nothing for the Knights but a 1v2 loss. And it just seems like it's starting to compound a little bit here. Momentum completely halted for Knights. Vigil now being brought for Sage. The Mozzie for Haywood. A bit of a change up in the lineup here and the site. You go to Bar and Gaming. This might be what Knights are looking for to crack this impenetrable bloody egg that it seems QConfirm have posed.
Going to be very, very difficult now for Knights to, at best, walk away with the 3 points. I mean, that would be amazing from here on out. They'd have to win 4 rounds in a row and not drop another defense. And I just don't see that happening. QConfirm, their attacks look much better than their defenses, and Knights let QConfirm get away with some weak defenses. They let them have those points. If this had been a 4-2 for Knights or a 5-1 for Knights, this scoreline would not be worrisome for them at all. The fact that QConfirm are doing some good attacks, because Knights would have known that they did the same. They did. And now QConfirm have everything they need to get not only a win here, but potentially even a regulation win. They haven't got a single match in Stage 3 under their belt, and they might be able to take down the Stage 2 champions.
Still feel like that's just an insane thing to think about, but the prospect is well and truly on its way. Josh now going to take the point of contact all the way in kitchen and trying to hold trophies. Got Sage above in Solarium that'll be able to support should QConfirm try to flush him out here. Sage, drone shooting, we'll say 6 out of 10, still gets it done. Only 6 drones on the board left for QConfirm. 2 minutes in, that's pretty decent from Knights, all things considered. Oh my God.
That's not. Another opening engagement goes the way of QC. They've won almost all of them this entire match through, and it's Hajime and Lycolis who are always on that front line. QConfirm really starting to tighten the noose here. And Josh knows he needs to find something to respond.
Say tightening, the noose. At this point, it kind of feels like just giving Knights more rope and they'll do it themselves. They've really started to put their backs up against the wall in nearly every aspect here. And oh my God, no. Lycolis is a beast unleashed. God.
Oh, another one! Oh my God, he's found 3. Dark going down. Josh is doing the first little bit of work, and Haywood's on the rotation here. Does put Josh in an unsupported position. He's taken down. This is it, man. Like, QConfirm are a league above Knights right now.
They are storming away with this game. They are absolutely dancing on the grave of Knights. Match points. All 3 points on the cards here for QConfirm. Not a single person on the analyst desk. The predictions from us, Dev, have all been toward the Knights. And how quickly that can turn on a dime. QConfirm styling on them right now.
What a redemption for QC as well, because Stage 2 started so strongly for them. They ended up getting massive wins over most of their key opponents, the ones that they would typically expect to be taking the positions above them on the standings. I'm talking like, you know, your Knights, your Dire Wolves. Then they finally ended up facing Invictus. That was that embarrassing 7-1 defeat. Really took them down a peg. Stage 2 also looked to be embarrassing.
Bomb located by attackers.
Up until now, and they are doing away with Knights. This is not even looking difficult for QConfirm on their attacks. I think this is the second time today we're also seeing a map that was arguably won during the map veto. This is not a map that Knights have had in their pool, not one that they've established in many comp games, especially not many convincing ones. But QConfirm, it's a staple throughout their local leagues. And they cruise through, and they play it there, they win it there against far worse teams than the Knights. Yet Knights just cannot dig in.
That's exactly what they're going to have to do, is dig their feet in. Because right now, they're stuck, just dead in the water. They need to find some solid ground. The question is, oh my god, are QConfirm going to let them? Spacehead nearly rips apart Sage and Mud. Juicy.
Oh my god.
This is just ridiculous. 2 out of, what, 10 rounds now is all that Knights have been able to confirm for the opening picks. QConfirm have 8.
4 attacks in a row that QConfirm have started with a 5v4, essentially. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. Spacehead has been taken down. That's just the Frost mat, though. He's going to get picked up quite easily by Dark. Like the way that QConfirm are playing these attacks, if I'm honest. I think that they're just taking map control. They're playing pretty simple Siege. They're just always on each other, always supporting. They're shutting down aggression. It's really just everything that we didn't see from Knights on their attacks. We're seeing here from QC. And I know that Guz in the Discord chat called a 7-3 after Knights lost that 5v1. Starting to think that might be on the cards.
Jeez, that's where this all started. A little round back in round 5 is where things spiraled out of control, and there's no signs of it stopping. Yeah, there's literally no signs of it stopping, Dev. And with the man advantage, QConfirm, I mean, they may well walk their merry way into 3 points.
Ooh, that nade didn't clear out the shield, however, but Hayward does pull back. He does find one. Dino's here to support as well. Dark going deep. He might find this. Dino gonna try and refrag that fight, but he's got to win this one, and Dark is so close. How does he win that? Reload. Once again, QC have the man advantage. Ooh. Josh can desperately try to fight back, but he's got to line up a second here to really make it possible. QConfirm have 40 seconds to pull off this 3 versus 3, but Josh is the man to step up in the moment.
Through a melee hole. God, talk about sweat. QConfirm starting to now. Josh going to be holding the line again. That is so deep. That's all the way through to Fireplace, covering the staircase. Can Josh hold any more players like Lycolis and Producer? Oh my god, it's a trade somehow from Lycolis as he pushes in. This is still winnable, Sage. They're going to wait for this diffuser to be stuck for it to go down to then capitalize to collapse on Lycolis, who can't do a damn thing. Knights finally found a round, but at what cost?
Very, very close one. That, though, is how you play a 2v1. Knights, very well done. They know that they've been pushed to their bloody limit, and they are not going to let it go close like it did before. They are not going to forfeit their advantages. They've finally broken that QConfirm streak, Rob. 5 rounds in a row, the Thai team managed to steal from the Knights. And, I mean, it got to the point where it was no longer theft. It was just pure ownership. QConfirm inherited that long before they were ever born. Knights is doing what they can to try and make this game salvaging a bit of their pride, but I don't know if it's even possible. I think QConfirm may have taken this too far.
I would definitely agree with you. This is You know, 2 rounds Knights are going to have to string back-to-back after 3 successful from QConfirm. 2 in Master, 1 in Bar Games, and it was the kitchen dining that really did in QConfirm. So we're going to go back to a 0% sight for Knights. Out of 2 attempts, that's the other big blaring issue here. Glaring, blaring, goodness me. We're getting close. English will be a mainstay, I promise you, but
10 seconds left before insertion.
it is really dire for Knights in this situation, and I mean, so many points, you know, starting from the veto. Before we even jumped in the server, were we questioning what was going on, and I think it's only gotten worse from there, Dev. They still have that opportunity to salvage it, but it just feels like QConfirm, they're on a roll.
I will say, though, I've seen some pretty stellar performances from a couple of the Knights guys, Josh in particular. Every time we're spectating him, I'm like, man, if he gets 1 here or gets 2, like, the sky is the limit. But if he gets shut down, and every Knights fan's heart's going to sink, because Josh is the guy who's putting that team on his shoulders right now. Yeah, it obviously is a team game at the end of the day, but a lot of these situations that aren't looking winnable, it's Josh who's making that, turning the tide.
So I think setting up for QConfirm, incredibly spread in terms of their attack. Players covering most of the larger key features, double windows as such. Producer looking for something, I don't know what, but you may be rewarded, I guess. Patience is a virtue. A virtue they will need to find here. Because Knights are definitely a team that can bring this back. But again, it's all about waiting and seeing how they adapt to the last 2 rounds.
Oh, another lead-off kill once again in the double. QConfirm right on the cusp of this map. Knights once again on the back foot. They have to go large, but I think this might be the one that QConfirm lock in.
Have to agree with you. Absolutely have to. This is just looking all but a done deal. All but a sure thing. Big thing right now. Josh and Juicy still alive. Sage has had his impact throughout the match, so QConfirm are coming up against 3 of the best, specifically in Playday 3 here for Knights.
Trying to clear off this electric wall to enable a breach. Juicy down but not out. Sage is the player who needs to go huge here. Hatchamade trying to pressure from outside. Knights once again rely on Josh and Sage. Spacehead walks up the back stairs, and this is all over. Sage overwhelmed. QConfirm end their losing streak with a huge victory, taking down the Knights.
Getting styled on apparently is what Knights are about here in Playday 3. QConfirm. Whew. That is a massive game. A huge 3 points for them to be able to claim. And you know what? That final round I think is so indicative. The first 2 opening kills, they then go on to absolutely swarm the site from all points. And from there, it's all over. It is all over. And I mean, who would have really predicted and done it with good consciousness and like genuine thought behind it? The fact that QConfirm would take all 3 points from Knights. Unheard of.
Look, it's funny, right? Because APAC South is so volatile that week to week our opinions of all these teams change. And in Stage 2, QConfirm were on a high. They took down Knights. Stage 3 was looking to be an absolute shocker. QConfirm had already lost 2 games to Direwolves and Invictus, both pretty handily. They weren't looking like in top form. That's why we didn't have any faith in them. And Knights look to be in really strong form right now. But that was all flipped on its head here. Chalet was just such a great map for QC to take us to. And they got to be so stoked about that one. Like, I'm sure we'll get like Colas on the phone later, but it was just their match through and through. Ever since we saw that 5v1 loss from Knights, ever since Dark made that clutch happen, there was no doubt in my mind.
No, it's a scary prospect for Knights now. That was a win that they not very much needed, but they needed to prove that they were still on top of at least that contest, because, I don't know, QConfirm on another level there. However, we're going to leave you in the capable hands of Xenox and the crew.
Both statements factually incorrect there, Manic Monday, but hey, I'll let you off the hook. But what a win for QConfirm. Guys, obviously their first win for the stage. On top of that, defeating the Knights, who have now lost 2 in a row. Both sides of the coin here, of course, you know, developing some storylines going towards the middle portion of the season. But I'll go to you on this one first, Guz. QC, they looked really good, but I feel like it just comes down to the fact that the map veto, they ended up winning that, and they're winning the game.
Yeah, the veto, I guess, clearly showing to be quite strong for them. We saw a lot of chaos in this map. I think Manic and Dev did a great way of framing it on multiple occasions. It was just impossible to know what was going on, so I don't know how the players inside the server could really discern what was happening. But the real turning point was that 5v1. The Knights losing that round, Dark getting the 1v4 post-plant clutch. From there, the Knights were just completely gone. Absolutely gone. They didn't look like they were inside the server at all. So really well played by QConfirm. And again, just touching on that Knights point, that really compromises their ability to finish first now and get that major qualification spot. If not, at this point, it's almost impossible unless Invictus and other teams really struggle. So they've really shot themselves in the foot off the back of this performance, and I have no doubt they'll be really disappointed.
It also means for QConfirm, there's still a chance that if everything goes well from here, top 4 could still be on offer. Vast, how did you see this one? Of course, for the Knights, very disappointing, having lost on Playday 2. Now to lose again, suddenly 3 points from 3 Playdays, not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting game because, you know, as I kind of said in the videos, even though I've versed QConfirm for 2 seasons, I don't really know too much about their playstyle, so it was really kind of refreshing to sit back and just watch how they were playing. They were actually playing like really good Siege. They kind of reminded me a bit like Wildcard in the way they kind of work through kind of their checklist, and, you know, they always look like they have a clear goal. But for Knights, I mean, you know, it is the Knights. We can sit here and say they had a rough night, you know, the mental was chalked, but, you know, they're a top team. You know, they need to be able to, you know, with those 1v5s, you know, it must be really tilting, but you just need to forget about that and move on. You can't let it affect, you know, the rest of the game. You got the rest of the game to play. And I just think Knights were just honestly playing a poor Chalet. I think maybe they're trying to take a bit of a gamble, kind of like Bliss and OCN, maybe to trying to have a more diverse map pool. That's what maybe I'm thinking. But yeah, Chalet, I don't really know why they kind of went to that map today. They were kind of just making poor decisions, even on their attacks. Like, they kind of were just trying to make plays all the time, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just seemed like they were a bit all over the place, a bit indecisive on what they wanted to do, and they kind of reverted to making a lot of plays, which is totally fine. Like, it was working for so long. Like, if they won that 1v5, who knows how the game would have played out. They looked like they were just dominating, but it was more so for me their defenses on Chalet. It just didn't really seem like the Knights' way of playing Siege. They kind of were just, I don't know, turtling, and they weren't really, you know, we're used to seeing Hayward and Josh kind of just roaming around the map, you know, making aggressive plays, putting pressure on the team, and today we just didn't really see that.
Let's go and have a chat with Lycolis, of course, from QConfirm, off the back of their victory against the Knights. Hello, Lycolis. Congratulations on the win. It's taken until Playday 3 to find your first win, but taking down a team like the Knights should give you guys a lot of confidence moving forward.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, the loss from the 2 previous match, but yeah, we played pretty like off meta and like too passive, and then we were trying to like change the strategy. We play more aggressive sometimes, but still like, yeah, we just try to like change our mistake from the previous 2 match.
Lycolis, again, congratulations on the win. I want to talk a little bit about round number 5 when Dark got that ridiculous clutch, the 1v5 or the 1v5. How important did that feel inside of the server? Because from that point onwards, you only dropped a single round. So was that a big turning point for you guys inside of the game?
Yeah, I think that's the big turning point that ever happened in this season or this year for our team. I think because we could say that they attacked really pretty well. We couldn't like stay on our point that much, but somehow that Dark pulled that round back, and we were able to like win the next round to it's 3-on-3. And when we're switching side to the attack, yeah, we could gain the momentum. And I see that they are like scattered around all over the place like a roaming. So yeah, I got like 3 kills on one round by playing like just aggressive. Because I don't see any people there, so I just like I'm walking to find someone. Yeah. So I think that round really helped us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have had maybe not the best start to APAC South, but I mean, you know, in stage 2, we've seen Giants be able to go from bottom place all the way to, you know, playoffs and do what they're able to do. Is, you know, tonight's game a bit of a confidence boost in that regard?
I think because of the map and how their play style was, I think we were like comfortable with like the play style like Knight and the other team more than like White Guard and Giants in Victor's Gaming. Sorry.
Well, mate, it's obviously a long road to go from here. Still 4 more play days. Of course, top 4 could still be on offer. Big win against the Knights means that you guys can find some form. Any shout-outs that you want to give to the fans watching on?
Yeah, I just hope that everyone there follow us and keep cheering for us for the next week. Yeah, I hope I will be here again next week.
Me too. You got Chiefs next week.
You got the Chiefs next week for APAC South. So best of luck, and we'll see you there, like Hollis.
See you.
Well, it's a nice change and turn of events for QConfirm. Of course, coming into this game, it felt like a bit of doom and gloom. They had lost their first 2 games. We probably didn't give them much of a chance against the Knights guys, but ultimately, the map definitely worked in their favor, and it looked like it in-game as well. And suddenly, how quick things can change. Their season could be alive.
Yeah, how quickly things can change. And I mean, that was the storyline of the map itself. 1 round literally just turned the course of the entire matchup. Heading into that clutch, QConfirm were playing pretty well, but they were struggling. But like Hall said for himself, I mean, even the season as a whole, he's exclaimed that it might have been the biggest turning point of the season. 1 round can turn around a single match like that. Pretty insane. Of course, you know, 1 round doesn't have a flow-on effect necessarily directly, but maybe the Knights' mental was chalked, and QConfirm were able to exploit particularly that roam game as they were feeling super duper confident. So is it a big turning point for their stage as a whole? We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself in that regard, but I think it was just a great display on, you know, when QConfirm are confident they can play like this.
Just quickly before we do go to the break, one last fun fact. Knights now find themselves in last place. They just dropped 6 places off the back of that 1 loss, dead last with 4 play days to go. We are going to go to that break though. When we do come back, Order versus Invictus.